we'll go ahead and introduce our panelists, our presenter today. So everyone, please meet Logann Todd. Let's give a round of applause before I start ending. We'll do a little claps here. So give us some claps. Yay! Logann Todd is the Director of Career Services and Alumni Engagement at United States University. But why we have her here today, because she's a specialist in career in AI. She has over a decade in career development. She has guided students and alumni professionals like yourself toward meaningful career paths. She is a specialist in AI-powered career strategies, and she was recently honored with the 2025 Presidential Recognition Award from the National Career Development Association for her leadership on the AI Task Force. So let's give another round of claps and hugs. That is incredible work. And the work you're doing is so important and vital for careers today. So one, thank you for being here with us today. And Logann, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the warm welcome, Cristina, and all the folks on the call. I'm super honored to be here to share some different tips and resources for you all. And feel free to continue introducing yourselves in the chat. And like Cristina said, if you have the capability and you want to rename yourself, because I know there's a lot of folks on the same
A lot of Tina Bernsteins, and you're not me. I know we had some link issues. So Zoom was being annoying, so I just gave everybody my direct link. But please, or just
all
write your
good.
name in the chat and change it. So please do.
Yes. Well, I'm really excited to jump in today. We already kind of did a little bit of an intro, but if you look for me on LinkedIn, this is my headshot photo that you'll see. And so really, I'm just here to share some different information about using AI in your job search. And as we know, AI is definitely a lot more prominent than it was 5 years ago. And it's really taken over the industry, and especially for job searching on both sides, both for employers, but also for job seekers. So hopefully by the end of today, you're going to have some great resources and information that will help you a little bit more in your job search and as you move forward. But I want to know what you know. So when you think of AI, what comes to mind? What are you using? What are some different tools? I'm just curious to know kind of where we're at in terms of that. So yeah, ChatGPT. We're going to spend some time with chat today. Grammarly, love it. We have all of our generative AI platforms like Claude, Copilot. Erica, I love that, to do first draft of your cover letter. That's what I like to hear. Gemini. Good. Good. So we're familiar mostly with generative AI. Awesome. That's, the most common right now, and it's also the fastest growing. So it's great that you're already kind of in there using the tools, or you're already aware of them. I am going to show you lots of stuff today. A lot of it is going to be in generative AI platforms. I'm going to, of course, just demonstrate in ChatGPT, but you are able to do everything I'm going to show you today in any of the generative AI tools. So if you don't like ChatGPT, if you want to use Claude, Copilot, Gemini, Perplexity, whatever you feel comfortable with, you can do the same thing there. And then I'm also going to show you some other AI tools that you might not have heard of. But when we think about what AI is in the media, it's often projected as these types of things, right? So any Marvel fans, you have Jarvis, right? We have our Star Wars fans with R2 and C-3PO, but really my favorite one to think about is WALL-E. If you've ever seen the movie WALL-E, it is such a cute movie, but the story behind it is really important for us to understand. In WALL-E, it gets to a point where folks are too reliant on AI that they don't know how to act or interact with the outside world. And that's really where we're going. And it's a little scary, but hopefully the tools that I'm going to show you today will help show you how we can collaborate with AI without relying on it. And that's the important piece. And if you haven't watched WALL-E, definitely recommend. But really, we interact with AI every single day, whether we know it or not. So I'm sure you've gone on to maybe your banking website and they have that chat bot available. That's an AI system. It's typically not a real person on the other side. And it's filtered through FAQs or frequently asked questions or prompts. We have our smart assistants, right? My home in particular, we're a Google home. So I can say, hey, Google, and she'll respond to me. Luckily, I don't have one in my office, so she won't talk behind me today. But I can control all of the things. It's very convenient for me, but I am giving up that level of privacy. So we always kind of have to battle with that. Everyone nowadays typically has a smartphone, your facial recognition, that is AI built. Algorithms, we all go through the wormhole of TikTok and Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels. Those algorithms are consistently working for you. So the more you plug in, the more content it's going to generate in your favor. And so that's where we're approaching the WALL-E movie, where we're becoming too invested in what's in our virtual world, where we need to keep our real life in the present. Now we're going to focus on using AI for career development. And there's so many different ways that you can use it. We're just going to touch on a couple of these today, but know that I'm going to give you a resource that's going to have a lot more things than we talk about today. Really, we'll focus on resumes and cover letter building. We'll do a little bit of career exploration, interviewing, and then job searching information as well. So I just want to throw in here real quick about the hidden job market, because I think now more than ever, it's very, very important that we know what the hidden job market is and know how to maneuver it in the world of AI. So this is one way to look at it. When we as job seekers look for jobs, right, we immediately go to Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster, ZipRecruiter, right? We immediately go to those job boards. Then we might seek a recruiter to help us out, or we contact a recruiter at the company. Then we might go to our professional organizations or folks in our network and start asking around who has jobs. The last thing that we probably do is contact folks who already work at the company, or we kind of take advantage of our previous experience and hopefully kind of wiggle our way into a job. But on the flip side, these first three things that we focus on, yes, you will get a copy of the slides. I'll make sure. The first three things that we focus on as job seekers are actually the most costly for the employer. So our job as a job seeker is to cut costs for the employer and make it easy for them to find us. And so what we want to focus on are the things at the bottom of this pyramid. And networking, very easy to do, especially now with AI. Contacting folks at the company can also use AI to help us with that. The last one might be a little tough, right? If we don't have the experience, we can't really get promoted, right? But know that you really can control all of these steps. So another way to think about it is our lovely iceberg example here. And so at that top of the pyramid, right, these are the job postings that are visible to you on Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, etc. Everything else, the other 80%, are through internal referrals, networking, those headhunters or recruiters. So again, our job is to get that bottom of the iceberg or the bottom of the pyramid. And you really can control all of these things. It's just we need to know where to look. So that's where AI can really help us with those things, like connecting with employers or finding folks that work at the company already and making a connection there. Joining different professional organizations, or even finding the ones that are best for you. You can use generative AI to help you with that. Contacting recruiters, looking for ads, right? We're already kind of doing those things already. So the cool thing is that you all, most of you, some of you are alumni, some of you might be students, but you all have access to look and find alumni at your school. So you can go on LinkedIn right now, and I'll actually drop the direct link to that in the chat. But if you were to go to California University Northridge's website on LinkedIn and click that little alumni button, it'll pull up all of the alumni. And I think this is probably a little bit outdated because I used a screenshot for the previous workshop. So there might even be more that are on LinkedIn. And so this is a great space. There's no AI component to this, but it is really a great tool for you all to use for job searching. You can filter and sort and click all of the different things down here to really get the folks who you want to connect with. A lot of people don't know about this feature. It's a really fantastic one to take advantage of and to find folks who might be working in the jobs that you want to work in. Here's where the AI comes in. So let's say you did find someone, you use those filters and sorts and found some folks that might be interesting to connect with. If you click on their profile and you want to connect with them, a little pop-up window will say, hey, you can customize this invite, add a personalized note. And I have a little stat here. So people on LinkedIn are 74% more likely to connect with you if you have that personalized note. I always like to think of this as if you're in school and some stranger walks up to you and asks for a piece of gum, right? You can be like, I don't know you. Why do you want my gum? But if you said, hey, I really need this gum because I have an interview coming up, right? Then you're like, oh, okay, fine, you can have a piece of gum. Same thing applies here, right? We don't want a random stranger sending us a friend request if you don't know them. So if you put a little bit of thought into it, it doesn't have to be anything too complex. You're really just introducing yourself and trying to find a commonality. The fact that you all went to CSUN or you all, have that connection right there, that's your invitation. That's your personalization factor. If you need a little bit of help or you get stuck, this is where our AI friend comes in. So you can say, generate a personalized LinkedIn outreach message for an individual at XYZ company who is in a role related to your target role. And I saw a note in here.
Yeah, there you go.
The
I was going to
character
ask.
limit. Yes, so 200 character limit, totally doable. You can do that. And you can even put those parameters when you're using ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot. So you can say, generate a 200 character personalized LinkedIn message, right? And then there you go. It's going to create that message for you. So it takes a little bit of the workout, but you're still being authentic. You're still being yourself because you're providing that information, right? You already did the work. You researched who you wanted to connect with, and you're not necessarily giving them any confidential information, right? All you're giving them is just the company name and a job. You're not giving the person's actual name or any confidential or identifiable information other than those two things. So that's an important piece there. So good catch, Claudia. I'm glad you discussed that. Oh, went a little bit too far. Go back through here. So we talked about hidden job market, talked about alumni. So we kind of just grazed the surface with AI. So now we're going to jump in and I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite AI tools that aren't generative AI related. The first one is Goblin Tools. So just give me a little thumb or drop a thumb in the chat if you've heard of Goblin Tools before. Okay, I see a couple. Cool. So Goblin Tools is really kind of a bunch of things put into one. Now it is free for your desktop computer app. So you can go to your search bar and type in Goblin Tools or go to goblin.tools, the website, and download it. It is for free on your computer. If you want the mobile app, it's a one-time, it's like $1 to $3 depending on if you have Android or Apple device. And it's a one-time fee and then you have the app forever. So just a little note there. But the cool thing about Goblin Tools is that they have this magic to-do list. And so I'm going to actually try to pull it up here and we're going to do an example together. So let me make sure that you can see the correct screen here. All right. So here is my Goblin Tools on my desktop app. So you can see they have all of these different buttons and tools that you can use within the app itself, but I'm going to show you the magic to-do list. So this is a really great resource if you are someone who's pretty type A or likes to create to-do lists to stay on track. But I also really like this tool for someone who might need a little extra support. And what I mean by that is maybe you have a lot going on and you don't know how to break it up and manage your time or which steps you need to do. Now, also for someone who has ADHD like me, it's actually super helpful to break down large tasks because sometimes my neurons are firing way too fast and I can't do all the breakdown of the items, okay? So what I can do though, is I can put in the list items. So let's say I need to prepare a presentation on resumes, okay? That's my task, right? But of course, our brains work a little bit differently depending on who we are. But if we were to break up this task, maybe I would say, okay, I need to pick a date, right? Then I need to actually create the presentation. Then I'm going to need a little bit more help, right? So I can get the basic steps. So under this little peppers, these are the spiciness levels. So how much help do I need? So I can change that spiciness. How much breaking down do I need? And click that there. Then if I click add, you can see it added it as an item. And here's where the magic happens. So you're going to click this magic wand and it will take a couple seconds, but it's actually going to break this out for me. Some of them might not be, necessary steps that I necessarily need to take, but You can see here it broke it out into all of these things. My brain cannot do this. I cannot think this way. So this is super helpful for me, right? We have, what's the purpose of the presentation? Who's the target audience? Know that there's different types of resumes, right? We need to discuss all of the different types. Different examples, key points, a storyboard, different visualization aids. Am I going to give resources at the end, speaker notes, right? And so all of these things I would have taken a long time to come up with them on my own. And so it really just did that for me. And as you can see, it really broke it out. And that just depends on what that spiciness level is. So I really like this tool. It's awesome. And then when you cross things off, it will actually cross it off for you. You can also break up a subtask too. So you can add another subtask, and you can also estimate time. So you can add in your estimation there, and then it'll help you break up your time management. So that's the magic to-do list. There's a couple other really fun ones in here that are really helpful. So that estimator one, it will help you determine a time frame for how long it could take you. The compiler is really great for brain dumping. So you can put all of your notes from class or notes from a work meeting in here, and then it will actually turn it into a to-do list for you. So I really like that one. That's super fun. And then not related to this presentation at all, but I still like to bring it up, is the chef option. And so this is super fun if you have a bunch of random ingredients and you want to put it together and create your own recipe. It will do that for you. So I always think that one's super fun. So that's Goblin Tools in a nutshell. There's so many other things in here that you can use, and they all have a little bit of an AI feature to them. So I really like showing that.
Yeah, do you have a direct link to put in the chat for Goblin? Because someone's asking where this is.
Yeah, let me
see
access
it. And the desktop version is free, but the mobile app can range from $1 to $3, depending if you have an Android or Apple, Tiffany.
Yes. Yep. Let me put that there. Okay. I just dropped that link in there for that. Good question. Okie dokie. So let's flip back over to the presentation. All right. I just saw a comment in there. Someone said they're listening and cooking. Well, hey, if you need help coming up with a recipe, there you go. Okay, so that's Goblin Tools. The second one is actually all about interviewing. And so Google Interview Warmup is free for now. It's a fantastic tool, AI built in to help you with interviewing. Now, just a little backstory on this one. This was actually created for folks who were interested in the tech industry working at Google. Technical interviews are actually very, very challenging. And so Google tried to come up with a resource to help folks get through that interviewing process. In that process, they realized that this tool is actually way more powerful than just for technical interviews. And so they opened it up for everybody. So you can practice this anytime, anywhere. You can practice 5 questions at a time, and it'll give you immediate feedback. They have that built-in AI system who will actually talk to you. So it's kind of like you're talking to a person, but you're talking to the AI on the other side. And as I said, it'll give you immediate feedback on how to improve. One thing to note here is that there are specific categories for interviewing questions, and then there's a general category. The general category is pretty good. So if you practice even with those, I can guarantee your interviewing skills will get better. And so that's Google Interview Warmup. If you just if you Google Interview Warmup, it'll pop right up. But I also have it in my resource sheet I'll give you at the end. So someone actually said Grammarly, and then someone said using AI to do a cover letter draft. So I'm very excited to see that that's already happening. But really cool, something that recently launched is Grammarly actually has their own cover letter generator. So this is very similar to the features if you're familiar with Grammarly, where they help you improve your writing. And it's going to help you create that cover letter based on a resume that you upload. So I actually have it up here. I'm going to try to make sure you guys are seeing my screen still. Awesome. So as I said, I put the link in the chat, but if you go here, there is a desktop app. You can just use the browser. You don't have to download the app. And it's going to ask you to add a resume. You can either upload one, and here's the file types that it will allow you to include, or you can just paste your resume. And so I actually have a sample resume here that I'm just going to copy and paste right in there. One thing to note is that I am going to remove my contact information. Now, of course, this is fictitious, right? But I'm going to remove it just to show you the example. We should definitely do this every single time we use an AI platform. We don't want to provide any identifiable information. If you're really worried about it, you can even remove the names of the businesses and the date ranges as well, because they really don't need that for the cover letter. So all of your resume was written by you, right? Ideally, you would have written your resume by yourself. So you're not compromising that at all. And you can see here, I do have a little bit of a word limit, so I'm just going to delete one of these, but it'll do the same for me. So I can click continue, and then let's see, someone give me a job title in the chat. Any job title. This particular resume is, okay, proposal manager. Good. Okay. This particular resume is actually for a biomedical student. So it'll be very interesting to see the cover letter that it spits out, because proposal manager is very vague. So we'll see if it kind of connects the dots here. It is asking for job details. This is where you would go to Indeed or wherever you're applying for that job, copy the job description and pop it in here, then click create cover letter. I'm going to see if it'll let me. It will not let me without it, but that's okay. What I can do is go to Indeed and find a random job here. So here's one I found. I'm just going to copy this job description. You don't need to necessarily redact anything because it's already public information. They already posted on Indeed. Then I'm going to go back and paste that in. And this one also has a character limit, of course. Let's see. We'll get in there. Okay. Of course, it's going to be a little choppy because I just cut out a bunch of things, but you can see what it's capable of doing. So your cover letter is below. You can see it created it as kind of like a template so that you can copy and kind of go from here. Really important, this is a draft. This is not the final version. We're going to take this, we're going to look through it with a fine-tooth comb, make sure it makes sense, but it is pulling the information directly from the resume that we submitted. So ideally, it's going to be pulling the information that you've already created. It's not pulling things out of thin air, or hallucinating is the actual term.
Yeah, we have a question saying,
Yeah,
asking if ATS scanners, or they've heard that ATS scanners automatically filter out AI generated cover letters. Do you know if this is true?
Good question. Oh, I lost my screen here. Good question. So it really truly depends on the company. And so if they've really heavily invested in their application tracking system, then they might have, a more sophisticated way of filtering those out. But the way that the current job market is set up is that they're getting mass application. I mean, they're getting hundreds of applications for one job. And so it is so difficult to actually get to a real person because all of these applications are in there. The best thing that you can do is tailor your resume to the job itself. All of these people are mass applying, but just because they're mass applying doesn't mean they're taking the time to do this activity. They're not tailoring their resume or cover letter for every single job they're applying for. They're submitting the same documents for every single job. And so the best thing that you can do is use AI to help you tailor it. Or if you don't want to use AI and take the time and, highlight things in the job description and go back to your cover letter, look at your resume, that's still the traditional way, and you can do that as well. But from my experience, and also in speaking with recruiters, is that they would rather have, some type of AI generated help resume get through to them, because then they can see you as a candidate, than someone who just submits a boring resume that doesn't have anything to do with the job. And so I think over time, we'll see a little bit more in terms of the AI generated content and if it will trigger more of the system. But for right now, I definitely still encourage you to go through this process because it is helping you get to the top %. You're getting past all of those folks who submit the generic documents. You're actually taking the time to tailor it to the specific job. And so ultimately, that's going to help you a little bit more in that process.
Would you ultimately say this is a starting point? This is like
Yes.
the foundational of your cover
Yes,
letter, and then you go in and find with like a fine tooth comb and make it
absolutely.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, first glance, yes, this is like in the traditional cover letter format. However, this has way too many paragraphs. This, we would not recommend this as career counselors or career advisors. This is way too many paragraphs. And so we would start with this, right? And then we would take it and tweak it and change it a little bit, take out unnecessary information based on what the job is asking for. Maybe the job isn't looking for someone with bilingual proficiency, so we don't necessarily need to include that in there. So those are things where this is a great starting point, but we want to take it and tweak it and change it and make sure it's the absolute best version before we submit. Now, if you were to submit this today, you're going to get rebounded, right? Because you didn't take the time to personalize this or this information. So really important there as well. Good question. Yes, good point about the extra spaces and words and lines. Something else that it didn't show it here, but something especially with ChatGPT is they do the extended dash mark a lot. And so I'll try to show you in the demo and get it to do that. But that is, if that is included in the document, I know that it's AI generated just from seeing
Yeah.
so many. But
Someone asked a question in Grammarly. Are you able to ask in advance for a 3 paragraph cover letter? Like, so
you
no. Oh,
cannot.
got it.
Yes. So that is some limitations, right? But that is where you could take this, go over to ChatGPT or Claude and say, I really want to refine this a little bit. I want it to focus on 3 paragraphs, focusing on the things that are highlighted in the job description only, right? You're providing all the to-do lists for ChatGPT. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. I don't see any more questions. Do you see any more questions? Okay.
I think we're good.
All right. Let's hop back over here. Got some more fun tools to show you. We're about halfway through, which is perfect timing. So as I said, whatever generative AI tool you use, go for it.
I'm going to pause. We did have a question come
Okay.
in actually. So, they're asking if they need to include the information of the sender and the recipient like you were writing a physical letter.
I always say yes, because it shows that you went the extra mile to really personalize this letter to a person. If you can find the hiring manager, if you can find the person who's in charge of this role or who the supervisor is, you want to try to do that, because the moment that comes across their desk, they're like, oh, wow, this is standing out to me because everyone else has submitted a generic letter. So I say, if you can find it, please add it in there, because it does make a difference. As someone who's also hired people, I pay attention to those types of
Mhm.
things.
Yeah. And then I have one more. This was
Mhm.
earlier. I wrote it down because it was from the beginning of the chat, but
Okay.
can ATS recognize bullet points, whether AI generated or not? And I'm assuming they mean a reference like to their resume or if they include bullet points in a cover letter.
Yeah, so I will show you how you can create bullet points using AI. But the key thing here is that you are providing it the information. Don't ask it to create bullet points for
Mm,
a XYZ job. Give
right.
it something, right? At least say, my example is like if I worked at McDonald's and I took orders, I restocked the shelves, and I made food, right? Those are my very bland bullet points. But at least if I give that to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, it's going to actually use it and give you something a little bit more beefy. So as long as you're giving it something, it's better than nothing. And I
Yeah.
always say that the tool is really working for you. The more that you give it, the better the outcome is going to be that it gives you.
Great.
All right. So my last tool I'm going to show you before we hop over into that demo is Google Career Dreamer. Has anyone heard of Google Career Dreamer? Give me a little thumbs up if you have. All right. Well, you could say you did learn something today, because I saw no thumbs, which is great. So I showed this, they had a quick video on here, but basically you put in your current or previous job. It's going to ask you, hey, identify a couple skills that you have. And then it's going to ask you to include some other information. Now you can tailor or give as much or as little as you want, and it will actually create an elevator pitch for you, or it'll give you a position statement, a little bit more about yourself, your identity, that type of information. Then you can go a step further. Once you put in your information, it'll say, hey, here's all of these jobs that you're actually qualified for. And if you look here, these are, the example was marketing, but you can see it's a little bit more than that, right? Like e-commerce analyst or growth marketing manager, product designer, right? It's really going outside of the umbrella, and you have so many other options that you might not have thought about, but you have the transferable skills for this job.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think because I find a lot of times with our recent graduates or even mid-career alumni who are thinking about a career shift or not really
Yep.
sure, they don't know that this work that they've done in this one role
Yeah.
can absolutely be transferable to
Yes.
a different space and even a different industry. So I love this tool.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And so it doesn't show it here, but you can actually click on any of these jobs and it'll open up even more information. But it kind of gives you them all in this beautiful cloud. And then you can kind of filter and sort through there. And then you can go through and explore. So the next step is where the AI component comes in a little bit more. Now it's going to say, okay, you kind of have a direction or you have your pivot point on what you want to do next. Now let's use AI to help you. So it'll help you kind of workshop or draft a resume. You can also upload yours and it'll help you kind of tailor it. Same with cover letter, and then also explore some more job ideas. So maybe you liked a couple of them in that previous option, but you want to kind of see some others. This will help you do that right here. And you can click go and it'll go right there. So I did put the link in the chat. It's also going to be in the resource sheet, but I definitely encourage you to check this one out. It's super fun. It's very easy to use. You don't have to be an expert in technology to use it. It's very just click and go. So for job searching, I just have a couple tips here. So of course, generative AI, great to use. I've showed you a couple different things. I'm going to show you a couple more. Resi and JobRite and CareerFlow are all AI-based systems that have a ton of different tools built into them. So it's not just job searching, it's resumes, it's interviewing, it's cover letters, all of the things. Same with Teal HQ, except Teal HQ goes a little step further and they have this awesome job tracker. So tracking all of these applications can be really overwhelming. So it's nice to have something to kind of keep track of all of those things in one place. So you can go back and say, oh, I actually had an interview, I need to follow up. Or we can put in the second interview so that you can kind of keep track of everything in one place. JobScan is great. I showed you how Grammarly created our cover letter. JobScan does something similar, but with your resume. So you can put in the job description, put in your resume, and then it will kind of help you tailor it there. Now, I talked a little bit about this before, but in the age of mass applying for jobs, hundreds and hundreds of applicants are applying for jobs that one, they're probably not at all qualified for. They're just really desperate to get a job. They're not tailoring their applications. They're using these auto apply platforms. So if you see any of these recommended to you, you can see here my little, no, stop. You should not be using these platforms. They're not taking the time to tailor your document for you. They're not taking the time to do research to determine if this job is even a good fit. All you're probably putting into the system is program manager. Program manager means something totally different based on the industry that you're going to be in. And so it's not taking that time to get to know you as a human, and it's just roboting everywhere. And so I really encourage you to stay away from these auto apply platforms. Yes, it's convenient because it's applying for jobs for you, but it's not taking the time doing the work. You're not going to get in those top candidates in the ATS system or the applicant tracking system, and you're not going to get to a real person. So if you see any of these, stay away. Take the time. I know it takes just a little bit more to tailor that document to the job, but it really pays off in the end. Interviewing, we talked about Google Interview Warmup. Udly is something newer. It is a freemium, so meaning you get so many for free and then you have to pay. But Udly is great. There's a bunch of different features in it. You can do mock interviews and it will give you that feedback. And then MockMate, Azuna Prepper, and interviewing.io are all very similar. You can do mock interviewing online. LinkedIn interview prep, I'll have to check. This might be outdated, but they did have an interviewing prep tool where you can practice a couple questions for free. If you have the premium LinkedIn subscription, you get access to way more questions, but I believe they still have the ability for you to practice a couple for free as of right now. And by the way, all of these links in here, I did send the slides to Cristina, so you all get those. these are all clickable. You'll be able to click any of these things that are underlined. All of them will be live for you. So now let's jump right in and do some fun things. I'm going to drop the link in the chat as well, but if you want to follow along on your phone, you're welcome to do that. So I'll leave it up here for a couple seconds and you can scan that or open it up on your computer. And then I have it open here so I can kind of see who's in there. But just know I'll make sure you all have this link as well. So if you can't access it for some reason, you will be able to at a later time.
Yeah, after this event, I will be emailing you all the slides, and she also kindly made a resource page with all of the links, so I have access to everything. So if you didn't catch it right now, you'll get an email from me, don't you worry.
Yes, awesome. I see a bunch of people in there, so this is great. I love when the links work out. Okay, so let's pop back over and let's check this out together. So this really has so much information in it. It is very long, but it has everything that you would need. It's kind of like your job seeker toolkit for AI in a way. And as you can see, I did include a bunch of prompts. So these are ready to use, copy and paste. You have what you need to be successful based on the different career areas. And so I'm going to actually show you a couple of them today, and I'm going to ask for some volunteers. So I'm going to open up ChatGPT over here, and we're going to kind of do some fun stuff together. So
hold on 1 second. Can you show the QR code one more second, if you don't mind?
Yes, I'll also put that link in the chat again.
Oh, okay, the link's in the chat for those who didn't use QR codes. You can use
There's that QR code again.
All right, we'll give it a couple more seconds, and then we're going to do the ChatGPT prompt.
All right. Hopefully you were able to grab it. So I'm going to hop over to ChatGPT, and then I'm going to open up my window over here, and you can follow along with me. But we're going to go under the major/career exploration. So I'm going to ask for a little volunteer for a second, and I am asking if you can share the major or the degree that you had, and then a job. Or honestly, just a major is okay. Or your degree. What was the degree that you got? Communication studies. That was the first one that popped up for me. That's a really good one for this. So I'm going to say there will be plenty more opportunities to volunteer, by the way. Okay. As a degree in, okay. So I'm asking ChatGPT, what would be good career options for someone who has a degree in communication studies? I encourage you, I know there's a lot going on in the chat, do this with me. Ask the same prompt and see what comes up on your end. So you can see here, great question. This is what I was talking about, this little extended dash. Anytime
and like humans don't, right? Yeah, and humans don't talk like that. So that's a dead giveaway, just FYI.
Yes, yes. And normally if we would, it would almost act as like a speech break, right? This is a great question. And honestly, right, that's just really awkward. We don't speak like that as humans. So it's always funny when ChatGPT, yes, I don't write like that. You do write like that. You use the extended dash. It's very interesting.
Oh,
I would
I've
say
done that in, yeah, in text messages, never in like my career
right,
or professional emails, but yeah, sometimes in text, but some people do include the end dash. So
right.
each their own.
So it's always so interesting when it spits that out. But it's definitely not as common. So if you do write like that, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that typically when I see AI generated content, it usually has that in there. So back over here, so we have our career options, right? And so with communication studies, you know, if you were to go to see a career coach, they're going to give you some really great options. But sometimes we want a more expanded list, or maybe there's just not enough time in that appointment with your career advisor or career coach. And so they might say, hey, use ChatGPT to explore this a little bit more. And then now you have this prompt that you can go off of. So for communication studies, it could mean a couple different things. We have marketing, we have advertising, we have organizational communication or corporate communications, media, journalism, entertainment. And here's where we can get into some other options that we might not have thought of. So education, we have user experience or UX UI, sales, government or policy, event planning, right? And then, hey, if you're thinking about grad school, here's some additional options, right? So sometimes it likes to give the bonus tips. And I think that's super fun because we might not have thought about going to grad school, but maybe that's an option, or maybe you're going to think about that. And so the other cool thing, especially with ChatGPT, is that it always asks for follow-up. Like, do you want more? So you can continue that conversation and go from there. And so we could take this a little bit step further, say we're interested in user experience research. And so then I can, ask it, tell me more about user experience research. But maybe I want to say, okay, I know this is what I want to do. Now let's find some companies who are doing that. So I can say, what companies are ahead in the user experience / research space? I love that it says it's searching the web. So sometimes it takes a little bit. Also, one thing to note while it is working, I am using the free version of ChatGPT. I do not pay for it. I did pay for it for about 6 months. And to be honest with you, it's really not worth it. Everything that I'm showing you, you could do with the free version. Once in a while, it will say, hey, you've reached your maximum for today. But then it just switches you to a lower version of the processing system. So just know that you can continue to use it, or hop over to Copilot, hop over to Claude, right? You have so many options available to you. So here we go. It spits it out. They're saying, lots of companies are doing UX UI right now. It is a kind of up and coming career option, but this is actually giving me the list of the companies and then actually why they chose it. So I think that's a really great option as well. And then it's giving me the sources. Where is this coming from? So now I have an idea of like, okay, if I want to get into UX UI, these are the big companies, but what if I don't want to work at a big company, right? Maybe I want to work at a small company and I have a specific location. So someone give me a location. Los Angeles. Okay, maybe a smaller location. Okay, Glendale popped up. Okay, well, let's see. What about companies in Glendale, California? Right, we're narrowing it down a little bit. Maybe we don't want to start out with the big companies. Maybe we want to start out a little bit more. Right, so here we go. Service Titan, right? Headquartered in Glendale, Age of Learning. And then it actually will take me directly to the website. How cool. And so you really get that individualized information. If you were to do this on your own in Google search, it would take you probably 20 minutes to get a full list, where this just spits it out for me. And so I really like using it for kind of filtering through all of the things online, because when you go to LinkedIn and you type in UX UI, the search results are going to be crazy. You're going to get pages and pages and pages, where this actually just filters it down and you're like, oh, well, these are located in Glendale. I can just go to their company's page directly, see if they have any opportunities.
Yeah, and what I really like about this is it's being really intentional and strategic. And
yes,
you're also narrowing it to the opportunities that fit best for you and what you're
exactly.
trying to find as well. So I love that as well.
Yep. And I'll even take it like a step further, which, you can choose the option that makes sense for your identity. But if I said, I really want to work for a women-owned business, right? Then we can narrow it down even more. So searching for women-owned businesses. And here we go, right? It narrows it down for me. So I have really kind of spilled my identity into the process to make sure that it's really giving me exactly what I want. And I know that these are going to be good fits for me based on the information I'm putting in here. And so that's how we can use AI for career kind of coaching. I still, of course, recommend that you go see the Career Center or go see the services and resources that are available to you, because I'm sure they have other prompts and resources as well. And they can also connect with you, and they might have employer connections, right? Where ChatGPT might not be able to spit that out. So I still encourage you, a real person is always the best. But if you need a little bit extra support, or it's 3 in the morning and you're stress applying for jobs, ChatGPT is going to be there for you.
Yeah, or even like if you get these lists of companies, then going to LinkedIn, see if we have CSUN
Yes,
alumni that work there, and then build that
exactly.
human matador connection that way as well. So you already have
Yes.
a better in than just applying.
I love that. Yes. Thank you
Yeah,
for bringing that up. Yep.
of
Now
course.
you have your list. You go to LinkedIn and you go to the people tab and you can see the CSUN alumni that have also that maybe work there. So you have that connection. Then use AI to create the personalized notes, right? You're just infusing AI little by little into that process. So I'm going to show you this other example here. It's linked in the sample prompts under example discussion, the live career exploration. And so you can actually ask ChatGPT or Claude Copilot to be your career coach. And you can say, hey, be my career coach. I'm looking for guidance in my professional life. You also conduct research into different areas, explain job market trends on what qualifications would be beneficial for me. So I want you to ask me some questions. So it says, okay, awesome. I'll help you determine some different career paths. And then it bombarded me with all of these questions, right? This is a little overwhelming for me. I want to do like 1 question or 2 questions at a time. So I said, okay, redid my prompt. And I said, please ask me clarifying questions 1 or 2 at a time. Now we can kind of have that conversation back and forth with little bits of content. So it's asking, what are my skills? What is my education level? So I just put in here, skills are marketing, search engine optimization, and social media advertising, currently completing a bachelor's degree in marketing analytics. So then it's like, okay, moving on to the next section. What work experience do you have? What interests and passions, right? And you can kind of go back and forth and answer those questions. And then at the end, it will spit out very similarly to how Career Dreamer did, or in our previous example, where it will just give you all of these different examples and you can go through that same exercise. So again, always good to talk to a real person, but in the case that maybe that's not available to you or it's 2 in the morning, you can use ChatGPT.
And then I just want to mention that somebody said they did this similarly, what you did, listing the companies, the UX UI companies in Glendale. Basically, they just mentioned once you receive that list, still verify that those businesses are still
Yes,
there. Sometimes AI doesn't have the fully updated info. So again, this is more of how we're using AI as a resource, but you still have to do your due diligence
absolutely.
as
Yes.
well. So thank you for that.
Yep. You're really kind of taking the information with a grain of salt. You're going to go the extra mile to make sure. And I really like that you brought up that point too, because not all Gen AI platforms are created equal. You know, some platforms only go back so far, or they only have a certain time frame of data. So it might not have the last year and a half of data available to them. It's only pulling from what's previous. And so in that case, right, if the business did close or the company did close or go bankrupt or something, it won't have that information. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. Good point. Okay, we're gonna move down to resume writing here. We have about 10 minutes left. And so this is gonna be very similar to the resume and cover letters. They're gonna be very similar here. We are never, ever, ever going to go to ChatGPT and say, write me a resume, right? And I'm gonna show you why. So it actually was smarter than me, and it said, well, give me a little bit more information. Okay, I'm going to say, give me a template, right? I'm not giving it anything. We'll see what it comes up with. Okay, so we have contact information at the top, professional summary, which is not necessary for, you know, a lot of careers. It really kind of just depends, right? If you're doing like a career pivot, it might be a good option, but professional summaries really aren't necessary most of the time. Core skills and competencies, I probably would not necessarily put them in bullet points like this. Professional experience, this is pretty normal, but okay, I see here. So it's giving you sample things. So begin with an action verb, that is good advice. Highlight accomplishments, not just duties, also good advice. And quantify your results. So it is giving you some good advice here. which is good. I always like to see that. Education, so it does give your degree, major information, and then it says optional to include GPA. Certifications, again, optional, all of these things. But it really doesn't do anything for us, right? Like this isn't really doing a lot. We probably can go to the CSUN Career Center and get a template online. That's way better than what ChatGPT gave me.
Yeah. Sorry to
So
interrupt. I have a
no,
quick
go ahead.
question. Ben asked, for which careers is a professional summary needed or when is it needed?
Good question. Yeah. So I definitely think if you're in a position where you're pivoting careers, you can put a little blurb up there. I also have a lot of military spouses that include a summary. So I really just say it really just depends on the job. I think there's so many exceptions to the rule, but at the end of the day, your resume is unique to you. If you feel very strongly about putting that professional summary on there and you think that it adds value, of course, I'm going to encourage you to do that. But a lot of times, folks will put information in your professional summary that's either already included in the resume or you're going to talk about it in your cover letter. So at that point, it's kind of a waste of space where we can maybe put in some other bullet points that would provide a little bit more value.
Yeah. And
So
you
I think
think,
that's my
yeah.
feedback there.
And I think recruiters are maybe looking at a resume 60 seconds tops.
Yeah.
So they're really looking for your abilities, what you achieved, what you were able to do. And so I don't know if they're focusing so much on the professional
Yep.
summary. Somebody made a really great point in the chat. They said they like using a prompt, workshop a resume with me for this job title, copy and pasting the job. So that way AI will ask more questions about the job and help you tailor better results.
Yes.
That's
You
correct.
totally beat me to it.
There you
Yes.
go.
That is the best thing that you can do, right? Workshop a resume. Don't say write me a resume because then you're plagiarizing, right? It's ChatGPT is writing for you. You're not writing, you're not working together. And so you always want to say, let's make a draft together or let's collaborate on a resume. Let's workshop a resume or whatever you're creating. I definitely don't encourage you, if you are still in school, don't say, write me an essay, right? No, we're not doing that.
No.
But in terms of resume and cover letter, yes, what that prompt is perfect. So I actually have that prompt in here. So as you can see, mine's a little bit different, but based on the job title, position at company, include bullet points, and then paste the job description. What I would say is go a little bit further and actually give them a copy of that resume that you have. Omit your personal information, right? Don't include contact info. But that way you're giving it all the content that it needs to help kind of tailor it further. So I do have an entire prompt guide too linked in there for cover letters with way more information. But I think we've kind of covered the gist here is that ChatGPT is only so good, right? It's really not the ideal platform or tool to help you create a resume. It is really good for creating bullet points though. And so if I were to say, I know we have a couple minutes here, but help me make 3 to 5 bullet points, not 305. Oh my goodness. 3 to 5 bullet points for my job as a crew member at Trader Joe's. Okay, so I didn't give it anything, so let's see what it kind of comes up with. Right, this is where we're plagiarizing because this is not information that we gave it. Does it fit the job description? Maybe. But what I would encourage you is to really think about for yourself, right? Not every crew member at Trader Joe's does the same job. You have sign artists, you have stockers, you have folks who work the cash register, right? They're all very different. And so think about what role you had. Think about the things that you did that were providing value or were important to the business. These basic things, right? Like checked people out, assisted with cashiering, but like, why did you do that? Or how did you do that, right? So really emphasize a little bit more. I think use it as a starting point, just like with cover letter or with any of the other things we talked about, and then enhance it a little bit more. So you can see all the other prompts in there, but know that, it only does so much, I think, for resumes and cover letters in particular. Interviewing on the other hand, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Love it for this. Because some of you might be applying for very niche jobs or very unique roles that the CSUN Career Center might not have interview questions for, right, to practice. And so what you can do with ChatGPT or any of them is ask it to practice interviewing with you. And so actually, when I did this prompt, it wasn't quite a feature yet, but now that it is, you have this dictate option and also voice mode. And so if it says, okay, ask me the question, right? Tell me about yourself and your professional background. I can click the use voice mode. I can talk my answer into my computer. And that's good practice because if you're doing a virtual interview or in person, right, you are using your voice. And so then it will take all that information and then it will give you feedback. So that new voice mode is really great for interviewing. I definitely encourage you to check it out. And so you can see here, it gave me immediate feedback based on my answer, and then it actually rewrote it. It said, here's how you can say it a little bit better. Still my words, it just sounds a little bit more professional. So I do encourage you to do that. And then also, if you were to go here, go to new, can someone give me a very interesting job title? Like a very unique job title.
Get
Something
real
super
niche.
fun.
Yeah.
Social impact. Okay, director of revenue cycle is interesting. Let's go with that one. Ooh, animal therapist. Okay, we're gonna actually go with that one. That's gonna be really fun to see these questions.
Yeah, let's see what we got. Thank you for that one.
Okay, I'm gonna say provide me a list of questions, interview questions for a animal therapist position. Now I can also say the company. So I don't know who's hiring animal therapists off the top of my head, but let's just say the San Diego Zoo. All right, so then it says, okay, well, here's a list of interview questions for this position at the San Diego Zoo, right? And so it even personalizes those. So why are you interested in working at San Diego Zoo specifically? How do you define success? If you were to come to me and say, Logann, I want to be an animal therapist at San Diego Zoo, I'm going to need 3 to 4 business days to give you a list of questions. But ChatGPT just spit it out right away and even broke it down into general questions, behavioral questions, and technical questions. Oh, and even some ethics, safety, and team collaboration. So it even went a little bit further than that. You can take these and you can say, okay, let's practice this question. You're going to use that voice mode, put your information in there. It's going to give you feedback. You're ready to go. You're going to feel even more confident in your interview. So I do really like it for interviewing. I think it's super strong in that aspect. And so I'm going to flip back over to our presentation here because we have a couple minutes, but hopefully the demo was informational for you, but you also learned a lot more on how you can kind of interact with the tool and infuse it into different career things. Please use that resource sheet. There's so many prompts in there. It really is an excellent resource for you. But I would be doing everyone a disservice if I didn't talk about ethics for a little bit, because as AI continues to evolve, I really want you to make sure that you're staying safe and you're using it ethically. We're not going to plagiarize, right? And so anytime you're using an AI tool, I want you to check your privacy settings. I want you to go in, I want you to look it up. I want you to see what they're using your data with, because just because it's free doesn't mean it's actually free. They're actually taking your data. And so how you can check in ChatGPT, for example, if you go under your account and go under settings, you're going to see all of these different options, but you're going to go under data controls, and here you see improve the model for everyone. And I have mine off. I do not want them to use my data to continue to enhance this tool in any way. I want it to be private. I want it to just be for me. So that's one way you can change it. You can also manage all of these other things in here, or you can go to, they have a privacy mode as well. So under here, turn on temporary chat. This is almost like the incognito browser in Google. Same thing here. So it's saying you won't appear in history, you won't keep it in memory, it'll only save it. You can get a copy for 30 days and after that it's gone. So double check those based on what tool you're using. Really important there based on your preferences. No personal identifiable information. Please don't put your name, your birth date, your social security number, anything identifiable, your address, anything that is attached to you, do not put it in there. If you're really worried about it with that resume, you can take out other identifiable information if you think you want to go that far with company, date ranges, etc. But really, don't put your name in there. Don't put any personal information. Now, you can see mine was addressing me as Logann. I have my privacy settings stated a certain way for me. I'm okay with it saying, hey, Logann, how can I help you today? That's fine. Another thing is if you are still in school, make sure you abide by the university's AI policy. I'm sure you can find it in the catalog or the policy manual. Very important that you're following those. If you're in the workforce, same thing applies here with your company. You want to abide by your company's AI policies if they have them. A lot of companies nowadays are using AI tools. For example, my company uses Microsoft Teams and we have Copilot built in. And so know that they are keeping that information. Anything you're using in that AI platform is available for them to see. So just to note, however you're choosing to use it, they can see that. And then understand those consequences, right? If we're not using it for good, if we're not making ethical choices, know that there are consequences to that based on what you're doing. So plagiarism, copywriting, right? Those are really important for you to understand. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but those hallucinations, that's when ChatGPT or any of the generative AI pulls things out of nowhere. You're like, wait a second, where did you get this information from? Or they provide those false sources, right? Or the business doesn't exist. And so you really want to ask yourself, does this make sense? Does this actually exist? Is this real? Almost like fact checking the AI. And then would a human say it like this? Would you actually say this in an interview? That's the important piece so that we don't lose authenticity. We really want to make sure it still is us. And then I encourage you practice using the systems. The more you use it, the better you're going to get, the more powerful it's going to be for you. Practice writing strong prompts to get strong responses. The cheat sheet that I gave you really does have all those resources in there to help you get started, but you can go far beyond that as well. But I know we're a little bit over, but I really, truly appreciate you all hanging out with me. Hopefully you learned something new today. And if you would like to connect on LinkedIn, I'm always open and happy to connect with you. I'll make sure Cristina shares out all that information for you and we'll stay in touch if you need it. And then otherwise, please know that AI is here to stay and you now have all the tools that you need in your toolkit to stay ahead as a job seeker.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Logann.